morning, yoga friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this hot morning here in Portland. We're going to be doing gentle and cooling yoga. If you are the proud owner of an older and AC-less home, you may really appreciate this. Again, I'm in a very different location, trying to keep my fans going in my main living room. You're with me here in my partially remodeled guest bedroom today. You will want some props for this class. A bolster or a pillow, a couple of blocks, a couple of books that you can stack up, any size paperback or hardback as long as they are relatively uniform and sturdy, and then a blanket. I don't have a yoga blanket today because my yoga blankets have been commandeered for window coverings, but I'm using a blanket from my couch. It just is not super fluffy. It'll give me a little bit of firmness. We also have a special new guest. This is Layla, and she may or may not be joining us for parts of the yoga class today. She has done classes online with me before, but never in person, so she may be a in-person yoga talk this morning. Lie down, Layla. We're going to start off with a really nice restorative pose, and you're going to want all of your props. So go ahead and grab them, and I'll show you how to set them up. Yes, my feet must be so delicious. Over here. You'll want a block at the end of your mat, and you can create a nice little ramp with your pillow or bolster there. That's where my head is going to go. And then down at the end of the mat, I'm going to take my blanket, and I'm actually going to fold my blanket up. Fold it. So it's about mat width, and I'm doing a pretty shoddy job here. I'm not too concerned because I'm just going to make a roll, so as long as it's relatively decent, and it's about the width of your mat, and then you just kind of roll it up. That's just going to go underneath your knees down here at the base of the mat. Space there. And then I'm going to lie down, and I'm probably going to get dog kisses on my face. I want to lie right down with the knees supported by the balls and the head and torso supported by the block. Lie down, Layla. Lie down. Yes, I know it's very hot. It's so hot. There. Yes. So as you're lying down here, perhaps with a furry friend, perhaps not, you want to feel nicely supported. You want to be able to relax your arms maybe out to the sides. You can let your feet kind of flop open, or you can do a little bit of a Baddha Konasana thing. You probably can't see because I think Layla is a little bit in the way, but you can let your knees come out to the sides and the soles of your feet come lightly together. If you choose that option, you can always put more props underneath your knees. And then you're just going to settle in. If you need an extra prop underneath your head, don't hesitate to grab it. We're going to be here for a little more than 5 minutes, so take your time getting really comfortable. Relax your shoulders. Relax your face. And just start to breathe. Notice that breathing deeply is a cooling act in itself. And this whole practice today is just about drawing a little bit of cool and quiet into our bodies while the world around us is very hot. So as you breathe in, imagine that each little molecule of air is cooling your body. It's filling your lungs. It is pumping into your blood. It's just a little bit of coolness. And then on the out breath, you can allow that out breath to carry any excess heat, any tension. Let that leave your body. Breathing in cool, quiet, and calm. Breathing out heat, tension, and your breath a little more. Breathing in that cool feeling. Slowly, almost languidly, begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Blink your eyes a few times. Maybe turn your head a little right and a little left. And then from there, you can gather your legs in. You rest your feet below or on top of your rolled up blanket, whatever feels more comfortable. A little bit wider than your hips, and then just take your knees a few times from right to left. And again, move slowly. There's no need to rush here. Moving at a pace that will maintain this cool space that we're in. You're ready, you're going to roll yourself all the way over to one side. You can roll off the bolster or you can rest on your side on the bolster, but stay on your side for a couple of breaths. Just enjoy. And then you're going to come to seated. You don't need to move much. We're going to come into a butterfly pose with the soles of our feet either out in front of us. You may even leave your blanket underneath your knees to make this particularly gentle, or just scoot your blanket back and put it underneath your hips. If you like, you can also sit up on your bolster. And then you're just going to fold forward here. And I like to rock a little bit side to side. It's optional. You can, of course, be still if you find a really nice spot. How far forward you go is really not very important. Just again, breathe a little bit here. Breathe into the length of your spine. Imagine that with each breath you are pushing the air very gently all the way along the length of the spine. All the way down to the tailbone, all the way up to the crown of the head. As you breathe out and the breath leaves, you kind of just soften a little bit. You deflate slightly. Get a little deeper into this space of stretchiness. Just going to, with the next inhale, lift yourself up a little bit so that you have some space and walk your fingertips over to your right. So you feel a little stretch on the left side of your body. Hello, puppy. You can let your head bow down again, relaxing. And another breath here. And then go over to the other side. Ooh, twitch in my hip there. Feel that nice stretch on the right side. center line. Take a deep breath there. And walk yourself right on up. You can gather your knees in. And you can gently sway your knees from side to side. Again, just go slow. Be really gentle with yourself. And then when you're ready, you just come back to the center. And you're just going to move your blanket and your bolster out to the side. And you're going to come to all fours. If, of course, you want to use your blanket to cushion your knees, please feel free to do so. And as you come to your hands and knees, spread your fingers nice and wide. And just wiggle your hips a little bit from side to side. And now that your hips feel loose, move one shoulder forward. And then the other shoulder forward. And just do that a few times. You'll feel a stretch along the side of your body maybe, and you can kind of shrug your left shoulder forward as you bring your right shoulder back and vice versa. And the hips, of course, are in this a little bit too. I'm bending my elbows pretty deeply because that feels good, but you don't have to. Do what feels nice. And then we'll come back to center. Reach the crown of the head forward on an inhale. And on an exhale, you're going to round your spine up towards the ceiling, finding your cat pose. Tuck your tail down, tuck your head down. Inhale, let your belly start to relax. Let your tail and your gaze come up. Cat pose. And just move between the two a few times. Creating space at the front of the body as you breathe in. Creating space for the back of the body as you breathe out. If you like, imagine what you're doing is you're just creating space for the cool to enter. You're making room for it. You're getting rid of all the heat of tense muscles, and you're allowing the space for relaxed, cool muscles by stretching everything out. You're going to change it up a little bit. Exhale stays the same. As you inhale this time, don't go quite so far through your cow pose. You just dip your belly a little bit. Stretch your right leg out behind you. And then as you exhale, hug that knee in towards the chest and step it towards the front of the mat, moving things around as needed. Walk your fingertips to frame your right foot. You may well like to grab your blocks or books here and lean a little forward into that right knee until you feel the left front side of the body, the left hip flexors, the left low belly starting to work open. You can just stay right here. You're more than welcome, of course, to bring your hands to the inside of your front foot if that's more comfortable, or to take your right foot further to the right. If you're quite tight in your hip flexors, you might be quite far back and quite tall here. That's totally fine. You're just working to find some openness at the right side of the body. No, the left side of the body, pardon me. The side where the leg is extended back behind you. Roll your shoulders back. Take a few more deep breaths. Gently guide your hips back. You're going to straighten your right leg. Mine is out to the side, which is fine. I could leave it here, or I could draw it a little bit back towards the center, see what feels good to you. But as you straighten that right leg, you start to create space at the back of the thigh. All around the hip feels nice. And you fold forward until you feel that space being created. Relax your shoulders and your jaw. And just breathe into it. Ardha Hanuman half splits pose. Feel free, of course, to cushion your knee or flip your blocks to any height that suits you, or stack your books. Relaxing, softening with each breath out. release this, coming forward into that right foot. If you walked it really far forward, you might want to draw it back. Place your blocks or your fingertips on either side of your right foot. Tuck your left set of toes under. Lift your left knee up. From here, you're using blocks, move them to the sides. Plant your hands under your shoulders, and you're just going to step back gently to downward dog. And take any movements that feel good. You can always, from here, come right back to table pose or even to child's pose if you need a little more cool. Even this slow downward facing dog is a little too warm for you today. Remember, this practice is about creating space for the cool, so if you start to feel overheated or overworked, please take a break. Maybe one more deep breath here, maybe softening the knees and bringing the chest towards the thighs. Really get a little into the shoulders. And then if you haven't already done so, you're going to bring your knees back to the floor, coming back to your table. You need to roll out your wrists or press into them before you start your cow-cat again. Please do. And then when you're ready, you'll take a few rounds of cow and cat at your own pace before we take the other side. Last round. And then we'll add that leg extended out behind us. As you inhale, you don't come quite so far down with the belly, but you reach the left leg behind you. And then as you exhale, you draw that left knee in and bring the foot to the front of the mat. We'll start with the lizard, placing the hands on either side of the front foot or inside the front foot. So you can see what feels good. Feel free to take the leg. I like to take my left foot really wide. That's what feels good to my hips. That does not mean it will feel good to your hips. You'll have to experiment and see, where do I feel some nice opening here at the front of my body. Maybe you even like to look a little over to the left, shrugging your left shoulder back, bringing your right shoulder forward, and that brings even more openness to the right side of the body. It's opening of the lower part of the body, the belly, the hips, the hamstrings is so nice when it's hot. These are areas where we store a lot of heat and tension. And letting go of that can keep us cooler and more relaxed. Not just in the physical heat, but in the heat of life. When you're ready, you're going to take your hips a little bit back. And you can leave your left foot out to the side if you had it there. It's totally fine to do a less straightforward and back orientation with your left leg or with any leg. When you're in this Ardha Hanuman, we have 4 hamstrings, and the different angles of the leg can really get in touch with some very underappreciated stretches. But of course, you can also bring that leg back to center. You can see what works for you. Finding a really nice stretch here with my leg just slightly off center and my hands inside my left foot. Breathing deep. Relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing the jaw. Soften that left knee again. If you walk that foot forward, you'll have to kind of draw it back. And now you want your hands to frame your front foot again. If you used blocks, move them out to the side. Plant your hands, tuck your back toe, lift your back knee, and step back to downward dog. And again, take a few moments here, taking it to the table or child if you prefer. Doing anything that feels nice. You can pedal the feet. You can turn the toes to one side and bend the knees, lowering the hips. Turn the toes to the other side, bend the knees, lower the hips. It's like you're trying to get your hips to go back towards your heels so that you feel a nice stretch along, again, the sides of the body. And if you start to get too warm, take a break. Keep it cool. Imagine wearing a white linen suit and sunglasses. It's the attitude you want for this yoga practice. You're just so calm and cool and elegant. From here, you're going to drop your knees as you're ready back to the mat. Walk your hands a little further in front of you. Slide your shoulders over the wrists. Untuck the toes and slowly lower all the way to the mat. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift up. You can take Cobra, or you can bring your elbows forward and take Sphinx. We're going to hold for 3 deep breaths, rolling the shoulders back, pressing the tops of the feet to the mat. Just again, feeling that openness at the front of the body here. Releasing down. Hands come under the shoulders. You're going to press back to child's pose. Knees could be together or apart. And as you press back, really round up through your spine. Go for the opposite motion here. Now you're really feeling space in the back of your body as you reach your fingertips actively forward, maybe even tenting the palms of your hands as you grip your fingertips on your mat. Here, lift back to your table pose as you inhale, and you can stay here in your table pose, or you can come to your downward facing dog pose. It's totally up to you. See what feels good. Find the pose that works for you and take a deep breath there. You're going to lift your left foot to the sky, and then you're going to step your left foot to the front of the mat. You'll walk your hands to the inside. You may like to bring your blocks with you, and you're going to walk to face the long edge of your mat. Both sets of toes are facing the long edge of the mat, and the hands come underneath the nose, and you fold until you feel a stretch. Use your blocks if you like them. Under your hands, under your head, whatever feels good. Find a little softness in your knees. Maybe bend them a little. Just enjoy for a few moments. Make sure that your jaw is relaxed. And if you are on the tighter side and it's not so possible to get really far down and look back behind you, you can stack up some blocks or some props, or what works, I think, really well here is to put the seat of a chair right in front of you. And depending on the height of your prop, you can rest your hands there and then just kind of pull your shoulders back. If you have something a little higher or you have a little more flexibility, you can rest your elbows there. I find this works really nicely on the seat of a chair as well. And you can either even rest the forehead in the hands or the chin. Feel really good, kind of just super lazy. For those of you with a lot of flexibility, you're welcome to do the thing where you rest the crown of your head on a block as well. Just kind of giving yourself a little bit of support here. I'm going to go for this super lazy option. It just feels really nice. We'll take about 3 more breaths. Up to standing, and this is like as much standing as we're going to get. We're going to do 2 standing poses, and that's it for today. So this is like the peak of our practice. This is the hottest part of the practice right here. So when you're ready, you can soften your knees a little bit. You can walk your hands up your legs or bring your hands to your hips as you come all the way to standing. And this is a squat, but we're not staying here very long, so you shouldn't build too much heat. You're just going to turn your toes out and your heels in, and you're going to bend your knees. And all we're going to do here is a little side bend. And we're going to go first towards the left. So lift your arms up as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, bring your left arm to your left thigh. And just feel that stretch. We're just going to take 2 more deep breaths here. Maybe pull that top arm a little bit back. Relax your shoulders. And then inhale to come up. Straighten your legs. You're going to turn towards the back of your mat. You can fold a little bit forwards. And you're just going to walk around, turning your right foot to face the back of the mat, and then your left foot to face the back of the mat. And I may have just gone 2 different directions, so if you got confused, don't worry. You're just going to do the other side next time. So we're going this way, and then we'll go back that way. I think I messed that up a little bit with confusion. So keep going whatever direction you're going, and then we're just going to go the other way. And then all you're going to do here is come to a pyramid, straightening that back leg, straightening the front leg. Maybe you choose to set your heel down. Maybe you choose to use your blocks. Maybe you choose to move your blocks out to the side. Wherever you are, just a light squeeze of your inner thighs together. Take another deep breath. And then you'll bend your knee and you'll walk back to the long edge of the mat. Left foot turns to face it, right foot turns to face it, and you come back to that forward fold. We're just taking about 3 deep breaths here. So find the variation that works best for you. Soften your jaw. Imagine that you can relax the back of your neck. You might even reach up and just give your back of your neck like a little massage. And when you're ready, you're going to again make your way all the way up to standing. I like to come halfway up first, so I kind of get rid of any little fuzzies in my head, and then soften the knees, walk yourself up. Turn the toes out and the heels in. And the first time I said to go to the right, so if you listen to me, you're going to go to the left, but you're just going to side bend to the opposite side. So open your arms out and side bend. And if I said that wrong, I don't know what I'm talking about. You're going to the other side, and you take 3 deep breaths there. Brains are a little slower in the heat. Top arm back. Remember, this is the hottest part of the practice. Inhale back to the center line. Straighten the legs and start to fold a little bit. I like to take my blocks with me as I walk. I'm walking to my left. You may also be walking to your left, but you should be walking to the opposite side of last time. And you can have both feet up in this kind of pyramid shape pose as you straighten both of the legs, or you can drop your back heel down. It's totally not important. Also important is the actual straightness of your legs. It's just straightening until stretch is achieved is all you need to do. And when you've gone straight and you don't feel any more stretch, you fold. So it's kind of like you just take it as far as you need to take it. Blocks or no blocks. Wherever you are, squeeze the inner thighs in. And again, find some softness in your neck and your head and your jaw and your shoulders. Remember, you want to invite the cool in. And it's hard to invite the cool in when you are straining. That makes heat in the body. Remember, you are wearing your white linen suit, and you're so cool and elegant. And cool, elegant people never appear to be straining. And that's what we're going for here today. No strain, just cool. When you're ready, you're going to bend your knee. Move your blocks out to the side or up to the front of the mat so they're out of the way. Plant your hands down and step back to downward facing dog. And hopefully you ended up facing the front of your mat. If not, don't worry about it. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to take a few breaths in your down dog. You could always come to table or child's pose here. If you want, you can come into a high plank, but you might just choose to, again, drop your knees and then slide to a low plank. Just keeping it real easy. Make your way to the floor. And again, you could take your Sphinx or your Cobra. If you have the need, you can, of course, take upward facing dog. I'm keeping mine really nice and cool with just a Sphinx for a couple of deep breaths. Roll the shoulders back, lift the belly button away from the floor. Make just the amount of effort that you need to maintain this pose and attempt to let any extra effort fall to the side. Remember, your cool appears effortless. You're making it as effortless as possible to be cool. All right, take a breath. And as you breathe out, lower down. You're going to come one more time to table or downward facing dog. Your choice. When you find your pose, you take a nice deep full breath. And then you lift your right foot to the sky. And you're going to step your right foot forward. And then all you're going to do is step your left foot forward. And you're going to bring yourself to the floor. You can come to a squat. You can do whatever feels good to your body. Come to seated. Take a deep breath. That's nice. We're going to go back to a forward fold, and you could take really almost any forward fold here. I'll give you a couple of suggestions. Number one would be maybe a Paschimottanasana, and you may decide to cushion underneath your knees or underneath your hips or both for this one, or you might decide to sit flat on the floor. It doesn't matter. The knees can be bent or the legs can be straight depending on how you feel as you go forward. Find your sits bones underneath you. Press your hands next to your hips, lift the center of your chest, and you would fold forward from there. Start with a straight spine until you feel some stretch at the back of your body, and then feel free to curve. If that one doesn't work, you could go back to Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Feel free again to prop underneath the knees in any way that feels good. And again, I kind of rounded forward there, but maybe try and start with a straight spine first, get the stretch, and then if you like, round. You could also try an Upavista, taking your legs a little wider. You might like to put props in front of you here. You could put your bolster, a couple of blocks, whatever works. Start with that straight spine again. I like to press down on the outside of my hips, lift up, and then move forward. Any of these or any forward fold of your choice. The only thing that's important is that this is cool. This is calm. You are not straining. You are, if you will, going with the flow, and the flow is cool. There's space. Breathe that coolness into your body. Take another deep breath in and out. And then gently start to walk your hands back in towards you. Rolling yourself up. And depending on where you were, you'll have to draw your legs in slightly differently. Maybe you can draw your legs in and place the soles of your feet again on the floor. And you're just going to sway your knees again a little side to side. to any comfortable seated position. Feel free to sit on any of your props. We'll create a little bit of space in our shoulders here. When you're ready and you're comfortable in your seat, you'll reach your arms in front of you. Cross the right arm on top of the left. You can use the left arm like a lever to pull the right arm across the body, or you can wind the elbows up or bring the palms of the hands together, whatever feels good. From there, drop your elbows. Let them be heavy. Maybe even bring them a little actively towards your belly as you bring your chin towards your chest. So you're creating a little bit of a fold here in this pose, in this shoulder stretch. And what hopefully is happening for you is your shoulder blades are drawing apart and away. If you'd like, you can lean a little bit over to your right as you fall down. So you feel a nice stretch around the shoulders. Inhale, you're slowly going to come back up. Come back to the center. Unwind the arms. Place your right hand down on the mat beside you. Lift your left arm up as you breathe in. As you breathe out, side bend over to your right. I like to look down because I think it's a little more kind of relaxed. But you can look up if you prefer. Inhale, back up. Reach your right arm up this time so both arms are in the air. And then exhale to twist, and you're going to twist over to your right, dropping your hands down. And you can place that right hand behind you and even lean back into it a little bit so you can just really kind of like laze into this pose. Inhale, come back to the center line. Relax the shoulders. Maybe even move them around a little bit. And you'll take the arms in front of you and you'll take the left arm on top. You can do the lever or the wiggle wind, whatever feels good. When you have achieved your positioning, drop your elbows, like just let them get super heavy. And don't do any holding up of them. And then you can round even a little more forward if you like. And lean over to the left if you like. And you just feel the shoulder blades drawing apart, stretching out. Feel that space being created for your coolness. Come back up, come back to the center line, unwind the arms. You'll plant the left hand down, you'll reach the right arm up, and you'll do your side bend again. You could look up, but maybe you prefer just to keep it really gentle and look down. I'm even putting my elbow on the floor. My side body is relatively open. I did a lot of gardening very early this morning, so I have a lot of space over here. You could also be putting your hands on your blocks, but you just want to keep it like, whatever happens, happens. It's easy. Alright. Come back up. Inhale. Bring your arms up. And exhale into the twist over to the left. Maybe even leaning back a little bit. Just so cool. And an inhale, come back to the center line. And again, you might like to kind of turn your head a little bit. Gently mobilize your shoulders. And then you'll want to grab either your bolster or your pillows if they're pretty firm, or a block or a couple of books with maybe your blanket over it. We're going to put it underneath our hips, so we do want it to maintain firmness and be at least a couple of inches tall. From there, you'll lie yourself down on the mat. You're going to come into supported bridge, soles of the feet in close to you, press the heels down, lift the hips, and take your prop underneath. Let your hips snuggle in. If you're using something like books or a block, highly recommend putting a blanket on top just to keep it really gentle and nice and kind to your sacrum. And you might decide that, oh, this is nice, I'm just going to hang out. Lovely. Maybe you like to go for a little more of that opening at the front of your body. You hold a lot of heat, attention in your belly or your thighs, and maybe you in the heat suffer from digestive troubles or the lack of desire to eat. That would be really nice. You can open up this whole area of the body again. You're like, oh, okay, this is good. Okay. Get some space for cool in there, maybe even stretching your arms up overhead. You can always do one leg at a time as well. I'll let you know when we're halfway through. If you tend to suffer in the heat from swollen feet and lower legs or throbbing legs, maybe you go for a little bit of a legs up and you take your legs towards the ceiling for a few minutes. You can try that out as well. Find the position that works for you and relax into it. Breathe slowly and deeply. If you are practicing a one-legged psoas release, you have one leg extended out and one leg bent, you might want to switch sides here. Or if you just want to change and try a different position, if you have the legs up, you can bring them down or vice versa. You can move your arms around. And again, let the breath be deep and slow. Feel heat and tension leaving your body every time you breathe out. So that not only are you drawing in fresh, cool breath, cooling the core temperature, but every time you breathe out, you are detoxing from heat. You are releasing even more, so that each breath takes you deeper and deeper into this state of cool and calm. Here you will return over the next few breaths to your starting point. So drawing the soles of the feet to the floor, knees pointing up. And then you'll bring your arms down if you brought them overhead. Go slow, go gentle. And then you'll lift your hips and you'll move your prop to the side. Letting your hips rest to the floor. Maybe you'd like to draw your knees to your chest. You could stay here and rock gently from right to left. Or you could go to a happy baby, soles of the feet to the ceiling. You can hold the feet, the ankles, or the calves, or the thighs as you draw not the elbows towards the armpits, the knees towards the armpits. I guess the elbows can kind of soften, but they go more out to the side, at least for me. And from wherever you are. When you're ready, you're going to just roll yourself to the side. And again, maybe think about taking an extra breath there. Don't come up too quickly. And then make your way to seated. We're going to set our props up in exactly the same orientation with the props at the end of the mat that we did at the beginning of class. So you'll want one pile of books, or one really big book, I guess, or one block. And then your nice ramped bolster or pillows. And then you're just going to sit on your hip here, doesn't matter which one, and let your knees pinwheel out to the side. And you can of course have the knees stacked, or the top thigh on top of the bottom leg, or behind it. See what feels good to you. Feel free to cushion underneath your hip. That can feel really nice sometimes. And then when you have that kind of side saddle position, you turn to the pillow or bolster and you lie yourself down. And for me, when it's hot, I like to keep this really gentle, so I always face in the direction of my knees. But you could go, if you feel that it's not too heated for you, and turn and look towards the back of your body. To me, that just feels kind of intense, and I like it to be really gentle, so I just kind of snuggle my bolster. Your hands can go wherever you like. And just relax into the support underneath you. Let go. Nice and slow and gentle. You could start by just blinking your eyes. And then draw your hands under your shoulders and press yourself up. And you're just going to turn around and go the other direction. Set yourself up with anything you need. And then snuggle your bolster. Feel free to face in either direction. Just melt into it. Nice, deep, even breath. just slowly and gently, and blink your eyes. Draw your hands under your shoulders. Hello, puppy. Move your way over, and all you're going to do here is come back to exactly where we started. So you'll snuggle yourself up against the bolster. You can bring your blanket back underneath your legs if you want to, and you'll lie yourself back. So it's like just the easiest, laziest transition you could possibly imagine. And as you come into this, add anything, again, that makes you comfortable. Anything that lets you relax. Let go of your shoulders. Soften your face. And just breathe. Breathe in cool. Remember, you're breathing in that cool air. And breathe out heat. So that again, with every breath, you are going deeper and deeper. You're cooling and relaxing more and more. Each breath a little more. Each breath a little deeper. Each breath cooler, cooler, cooler. today. I encourage you to take any extra minutes that you have and remain here in Shavasana, washed in cool. Even if it's only an extra 2 minutes, or you have the luxury of 5 or 10 or 15, the longer you stay, the better. This is such a beneficial place to be when it is hot. Practicing your cool really helps. Whenever it is time to return to your day, you can blink your eyes, wiggle your fingers and toes. You can turn your head. And again, when you're ready to make your way out, you'll draw your knees up and you'll roll as you're ready to the side. You can sway a little, of course, first. Do any movements that loosen up your back. And when you do get over to your side, spend at least 2 deep breaths there, maybe even a few more. Go slow. And when you're ready, come to seated. Move things around as needed. Hands will come in front of your heart. Take that deep breath of cool together, in through the nose if you can, out through the mouth, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste.